being still the storyline around the NFL based on them falling to the Kansas City Chiefs once again. 0-4 in postseason play in that one. It's a shame about Buffalo. It's got me thinking. The past couple days, people have been talking about Sean McDermott. Is it time to amicably move on from the head coach of the Buffalo Bills? And part of me was thinking, what did Sean McDermott, at least for me, if we're going to think, all right, well, Sean McDermott's the underlying variable here in why they keep losing or the fact that they keep losing, he is there. Did he screw up all that much in that game against the Kansas City Chiefs? That's my thinking. Yeah. Was there a reasoning, a point of time where we could start to call into question Sean McDermott's how he handled that?
The gripes that I saw from Bills faithful, the going for two early, I'm indifferent on it, Kyle. I understand it, the analytics if we're playing that game, but Buffalo Bill fans are complaining the going for two, and then after that chasing points, quote unquote, the whole game, and then the third and fourth down play calling. Now,
that's not him.
That's what I was about to say. Now, hang on here. That's what I was going to say. That's Brady. But Bill fans are going, he's the head coach. He has the executive decision. He's allowed to veto and whatever. McDermott's a defensive guy. So I agree with you. I think that the whole offensive take and the play calling thing is a cop-out. I'll listen to the going for two thing. But if you want to play the analytic game and then that's how you want to do it, fair play to you. Who am I to tell you how to run your football team? But that's the gripes that at least I saw, Kyle. The going for two after that chasing
do you have a problem
points
with
the whole
that?
game.
Do you have a problem with that?
No.
So you don't have a problem with that?
And I
because it would have made it. It would have made it a 3-point game had they not had to go for two. It instead would have been 24-21 instead of 22-21.
You kick a game-winning field goal. But I go down to you had a chance. Say you didn't go for two. If we're playing our hypotheticals that I know you hate, all right. If they don't go for two and they take the PAT, you're down two. You still have to get in range at the end of the game to get a field goal. They didn't do that. They got stalled on their own 47.
Here's the problem, too.
You got to be able to move the football.
Can you blame McDermott all that much for going for it? Because that was the play that there was a penalty on the PAT. So they kicked it, and then there's a penalty. They're at the 1-yard line. 32 out of 32 coaches are going for it then. 32 out of 32. If it's on the 1-yard line and there's a penalty at stake, yeah, you're throwing your offense back out there. Right. So I can't put too much blame on him on that, which is why I think it's hard to point fingers at the Sean McDermotts of the world because, yeah, it was probably apparent that the Chiefs outcoached the Bills that game and that Spagnuolo especially danced circles around that offense, especially in that last drive. So there's truth to that. But they do that to everybody. They outcoach everybody. They outplay everybody. Sean McDermott, for the most part, wins against most other teams.
It would be a mistake to make a move just because you're angry and to put blame on somebody. And that's what the whole Sean McDermott out stuff sounds like to me. There needs to be a scapegoat. Why does there need to be a scapegoat? The Chiefs are the Chiefs. They don't lose anybody. They haven't lost to anybody outside of the Cincinnati Bengals in, 3 years? 4 years now? It was 4 years ago. I can't even keep track. It's been so long.
Patrick Mahomes is 17-3 in the postseason. 17-3. Two of those losses are against Brady. One of them is against Burrow.
Exactly.
So what? Bills are not one of them. So let's can the coach.
I understand there's frustration, but
now the argument is if he went for the PAT instead, 21-17. All of a sudden, you're not chasing points the rest of the game, like you said, and then it wouldn't be the 22-21 having to go for two then as well. Instead, you could have kicked the PAT, and it would have been 24-21 late game. So it would have been not necessarily. You would have had a chance to win the game if everything went to plan after those plays. Big if. So I don't have too much of a problem with it because for a couple of reasons, I think if you're going to play the blame game, you go in a couple other directions before you really go to a late second quarter going for two, in my opinion. That play calling being one of them, how you want to handle going for that quarterback sneak that even Nance in the second quarter said, well, the Chiefs know that he likes going to that left guard, and he likes staying over that left guard. And for the next 6 quarterback sneaks they did the rest of the game, what'd they do? They kept going behind that left guard. And then it gets shut down, and then we're supposed to scream and cry for the referees? That is not that fair. That to me is a little rough. I don't know. So from that perspective, I cannot put too much blame on how McDermott handled that game. I can't.
There's frustration, and that comes whenever you lose an AFC Championship game. And for miserable fans like us, to be honest, obviously don't know how that feels. So put yourself in the shoes of Bills fans. They want to point the finger. And I agree with you. It shouldn't be at McDermott, who does what every other NFL coach is doing right now, and that's getting outmaneuvered by Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I think if the Chiefs came out and had legitimate gripes about Sean McDermott, oh, he doesn't have control of the locker room, oh, we don't like how he does this, fine. But if you're going to fire the guy because you're angry he can't beat the Kansas City Chiefs, you want to know what I got to say to that? Get in line.
Well,
get in line. Right?
It's not just because of that. I mean, yeah, there's a couple blunders that he's had over his careers. He's never been great with clock management, but a lot of coaches aren't. That's the one thing that most coaches aren't, at least in their first job, unless they're 30-year vets. Nobody knows how to handle a clock. Tomlin still does not know how to handle the clock. So it's few and far between the amount of coaches that know how to handle a clock in a late game situation. So I can't put a ton of blame there. Thinking back 2 days after the fact of that Bills game, I cannot put a ton of blame on how that to me, it's more about the Chiefs than it is about the Bills.
I don't mind him kind of going at the referees after the game. I know there was some, I don't want to say fleck about it after the game, but the headlines are, McDermott harsh on refs. How can't you be?
Well, what'd he say?
We're all harsh on the refs. He talked about the Kincaid play and the fourth down play and how he felt like it didn't go their way. Everyone with eyes could see it didn't go their way. So I can't take that serious. People getting up in arms about him complaining about the officiating. We've been doing that for 3 weeks. 2 years now. 3 weeks, 2 years now with the Chiefs.
The one thing, that Kincaid play was a little strange with that flag coming out, thinking that they would make something happen, and then it was picked up, or CBS got it wrong, or whatever it may be. But Kincaid, talk about Mark Andrews is prevailing, because leave it to karma, thinking that the Bills escaped that Baltimore game off a botched catch by Mark Andrews, and the same thing would happen to them the following week. Leave that to the Bills. That's the karma of the situation.
Totally.
Same thing happened to you that happened to Baltimore. So blame Kincaid. That's your guy. That hit him right in the breadbasket. And blame the offensive line for letting that Spagnuolo blitz get through immediately, and blame Kincaid.
A lot of up in arms about the Amari Cooper too. Kind of, what was it? The bubble pass, the screen pass.
On 3rd and 10.
Yeah.
It was 3rd and 10 in midfield,
right.
And you're throwing a screen pass to try to make it, 4th and manageable? 4th and 6?
I think after the game, they justified it as, well, if he breaks that tackle, he takes it for a touchdown. Well, he didn't break the tackle. What are we doing here?
They were a little conservative throughout that game. So off of that,
though, if
there's a blame game, a pie chart of blame, Kincaid, in my book, takes a good 30%.
What about Joe Brady, who I thought might have gotten a head coaching gig somewhere?
Yeah, if we're going to pie chart that, I mean, he's probably in the 20 range, probably in the 25 range. Kincaid was right there. That ball hit him right in the breadbasket.
How about the ref? How about the officiating? Do they get a percentage, or are we keeping
10%, 15%?
I think, maybe. Listen, I know we're splitting hairs, partner, but maybe 20. I mean, the Kincaid play, by the way, note taken on the Kincaid drop. The Kincaid play I was talking about that McDermott was complaining about was the 3rd down. Brother, there was 2 first downs.
Oh, about the first down.
There were 2 first downs in a matter of 2 plays, and they turned the ball over.
I didn't see enough. They didn't show enough replays.